And here we go. Good evening and welcome to this special edition of Showtime TV. I'm your host, Omar Rashada, live on Facebook Live, Zoom Facebook Live with you beautiful ladies here. We have Elizabeth Perkins and we have Sister Lorraine, Muhammed. Ladies, good evening and thank you for being a guest on tonight's program.
Good evening. Thank you for having me, Omar.
Good evening. Thank you for having me, Brother Omar.
All right, no problem, no problem. Okay, the topic of discussion is a very sensitive and serious subject to survivors of abuse. I know both of you ladies felt free in the past to share your experience as being victims of abuse. So we want to start off with Sister Lorraine. Just give a brief, I guess, rundown in terms of your abuse history. Was it physical? Was it mental? Was it verbal? What happened?
Well, first of all, my name is Lorraine Muhammad, and I just want to say that it starts out verbal, but it can come into a degree of being physical at a point. But my thing was more so mental abuse. So I didn't understand what it was, but it's called gaslighting. Okay. And it's more so to make you feel that you don't know what you're doing, how you're doing it, and what your mindset is. And if anybody know, you can look up gaslighting. I can give you the definition of it, but it also could be physically or mental abuse as well. Yes.
Okay. Elizabeth?
What I went through, it was like what she was saying about the gaslighting, but it was very verbal until the end when I decided not to take any more of the mental abuse. And then it got to physical, where I was literally running for my life. And he was chasing me with the butcher knife
wow.
in the morning. And I remember two gentlemen had stopped for me and they took me to the police. And he actually went back to the house, back to my house where he wasn't supposed to be, and climbed in the bed, act like he was asleep when the police had got there.
Okay. So let me ask you two ladies. I'm start off with Elizabeth, then Sister Lorraine. How did abuse started? I mean, was it a physical? I'm sorry, was it a verbal argument, or did you not do something that he wanted you to do? I'm trying to get in the mind of the abuser. What led to the abuse in some of your cases? I know every case may not be the same, but just give me some examples of what led to the abuse. We'll start off with Elizabeth.
What led to the abuse was we were both working very prestigious jobs. I was at the hospital and he was at a law firm, and he just got caught up in the money. And as he got caught up in the money, hanging out with the wrong people, he got into drugs. And when I found out that he was doing drugs, that's when I started putting my foot down, and he would go missing for days. He would take my money out of my bank without letting me know that he did it. He would deplete my funds. And at one time, he actually stole my car, even though we were married. He actually stole my car to get drugs, to lend it out for drugs. And that's how the physical aspect came into it. He was very verbal, coming in, didn't want me to have any friends, try to keep me sheltered, didn't want me to do anything. And but then when I found out he was doing drugs and stuff and it wasn't healthy for me and my children, I decided that I had to make a choice to leave the situation. And that's how it has started.
Now, you said something that's prominent that many people may not be aware of. There's a such thing as financial abuse, especially when it comes to domestic violence. You know, people can withhold funds, not allow you to get things to meet your needs and necessities. So, yeah, financial abuse it's included.
It was crazy. It was crazy because after I divorced him, he threatened me and stalked me for years. So I ended up paying him $500 every month to stay away from me. It was crazy. He had that kind of control.
Wow, that's neat. Sister Lorraine?
Well, when it all, I just wanted to say, Elizabeth, that's true. Because when it comes to drug addiction, I think the drugs is somewhat take a hold of the individual. and makes them become, especially if it's a highly addictive drug like crack cocaine.
Yes.
It makes them more accessible to those who are around them that they love. I don't think it was intentional, but I think it's the addiction that pushes the individual. When you decline that you want to give them the money, or you want to help them, or you want to use with them, then that's where the domestic violence come in. Is an attack on the person that's close to them. And if you become a codependent, which I was told I was a codependent, because I would actually give, just to say, okay, let me just give this to him so he can get away from me.
Right.
And that's my way of dealing with it. You know what I mean? But as time go on, I got sick and tired. I was sick and tired as myself.
Yeah.
I wanted to make a change, and I wanted to get out the relationship. So I tried to seek counseling and everything that was possible. So as time went on, the drug just takes over. It just takes over the individual until they realize that they're sick and tired, and they need help. And I think I don't think the domestic violence was by choice. I think it was more the.
And on that too, Lorraine, he was abused in that way too. When I say abused, I'm talking about, he had a dad that was drinking, and he had a mom that was a closet drinker. And so when I met him, like, I had nowhere to go. I was in foster care. So I was staying with anybody that I could stay with. And I ended up staying with him and his family. And so I got to see firsthand of what was going on. And I felt like I owed him something, or I owed the family something. So that's why I had got married. And it was something that I just said, I just don't want you to do this. And he was already drinking and getting high with his dad when we had met. And so when I went, after we got married and moved out, we would go over, and I would be the babysitter for his sisters and him and, his friends and stuff. So that because I wasn't drinking and I never did drugs. So I was the sober babysitter while everybody, everybody was in the house, was getting drunk and getting high and stuff like that. Yeah.
All right, so let me ask you, ladies, there are times where the victim of abuse could, I'm not saying it's always necessarily true, but could blame him or herself for being abused. For example, if I wouldn't have got him or her angry, he or she wouldn't have beaten me. If I'd have had his dinner ready on time, he wouldn't have beat me. If I'd have ironed his clothes, he wouldn't beat me. So I want to ask you, ladies, during the period, well, first of all, I want to ask you, how long were you abused? And then also, during that time you were abused, did you ever blame yourself for being the victim?
Let me go first.
Oh, sure.
Okay. I think I was a little bit different because, like I said, I came through foster care, and I just felt like, I owed this family something for, taking me in, and I had no place to go. And I always knew that it was wrong what he was doing. And I never posed it on myself because I have been molested as a young child, which was why I was in foster care. But I never looked at it like it was something that I did. But I did feel like I made a mistake getting married to somebody that I already knew was a big red flag. But I went through with it because, going through foster care and you don't have anybody, family means everything to me. So to have an inkling of family set at a home, it felt good to me to have a family, and I was going to fight to keep my family together. I didn't want to be separated as me and my siblings was from my mom or from my siblings. So that's why I stayed in it so long. But after a while with my children, I was saying to myself, no, because I had 3 children that were disabled and I was taking care of them, and I was doing it alone, which was very hard. So I just had to get out of the situation. I was scared to get out of the situation because he would threaten to shoot me. He actually put a gun to my head at one time and told me if I was to ever leave him that, he would kill me. And then he would turn the gun away, like on my left side of my ear, and shoot the gun. He said, see, I could have killed you right now. And he would do things like that to keep fear in me.
That's brother. And so how long did the abuse occur?
Oh my gosh. I was with him for, I'm going to say 25 years.
Wow.
Yeah. Right out of junior high school. Yeah.
That's 2 decades and a half. Wow.
Yeah.
That's a long time. That's a long time. Sister Lorraine, how long were you abused, and did you ever blame yourself for being a victim?
Well, it started with it didn't start out in the beginning as abuse. It came with the addiction. We both were addicts at the time, and I was trying to get myself together to come out on recovery. So I had a lot of help with my family, but they didn't really know what was going on. But they kind of figured out what was going on because I would just get off the phone early, which is the point that it wasn't so much physical. It was more of mental abuse. Are you off the phone? Are you on the phone? Who are you talking to? You talking to somebody? That kind of, it wasn't so much physical. It was more of, if you lightened it up, you had to learn, Elizabeth, we all learn as domestic violence, you learn their behavior. So you have to get them excited. To the point where you will get physically, your mind clicks. Oh, okay, sure, it's fine. No, it's nobody on the phone. I think it's your brother. It's we knew how to. You knew how to wiggle yourself out.
Yeah.
You knew, so you didn't want to get hit or hurt or make it escalate until it could become physical.
Yeah. That is true.
Your mind, you start using your mind, saying, well, oh, no, it wasn't anybody. And so the first thing they like to do is get you away from your family. Like, I don't want you going over to your family. I don't want you over to your sisters. I don't want nobody here in my house. Well, we were living together. Right. So that's where it all starts at, is a form of control where they try to take you away from your family. So those are the signs that I try to recommend young women and people who are out there. When somebody want to take you away from your family so they can have you alone, so they can have you to themselves. Yeah. And that's where all the control. But my family, I'm from New York. They be like, yo, what you doing? Where you at? Right. So, they were really like a part of it and trying to get me out of it. And then I'm trying to seek help, to get my way out of it. As far as the first thing was to get myself off of drugs. Right. As long as I was continue to be on drugs for a very, very long time, many years. And I think that became, like Sister Elizabeth said, that to the breaking point was like, I got to get out of this. Yeah. And it also helped because then I got help. I got a recovery. I went to rehab. I relocated to Delaware. My family was a great support. So, it pushed me to become a better person. So now I could reach out to others to not to get trapped off in that same thing, because it also could lead to death. Yeah. Domestic violence is nothing serious to play with. And I'm not bragging about it. I'm not happy about it. Like Elizabeth said, she had a gun put to her head. I didn't get to escalate to that. But not only have guns been situated, women have got killed. Yeah. And that was the ending of our relationship, because he, like I said, when he came to my house, I was taking my youngest son to school, and I forgot something in the house. My son was sitting in the car. My son was like 15 at the time. And he actually came up to the car. He had a conversation with my son. And then when I came outside, he was out there, and he was like, you're going to be with me. I mean, he did so much to me. I was so scared to even drive my car, because he loosened the nuts on the wheels on my car and things like that. Oh, wow. No, and so he ended up taking my car. I ended up calling the police. This is how it all ended. I ended up calling the police when he took my car. The police came to my house, but this man had the audacity to drop our son off and then drive back to the house and waited for the police officer to leave. The police officer was outside for so long after he took my statement and everything. He had the audacity to come back to my house once the police officer left. So when he came to my house and knocked on the door, I thought it was the police officer outside. And it was him coming in with this big buck knife.
to
Wow.
stab me to death. Yeah.
Wow. See.
That's rough. Listen, I want to, before we go on, I want to go back to, you mentioned you were sexually abused as a child. How old were you when as a child when you were sexually abused? And did you know at that particular time that something was wrong?
I knew that I was scared. I was about 4. I knew I was scared. And he would come and at nighttime and take me out of my bed in my sleep, put me behind a couch and things like that. I knew that I was scared, but he always told me if I said something, he would do something to hurt my mom, or he would do something to my cousins. He also had stated that he had been with my sister and he was molesting my sister and my cousins. And I was just so afraid. And he was saying that, you're going to make it bad for all of you if you don't comply, if you tell.
Oh, wow.
Wow, that's what they do.
Yeah,
that's pretty rough. So that is a traumatic experience, from your childhood. Both you ladies experienced traumatic experiences, not only being abused as adults, but in your case, Elizabeth, abused as a child. So Sister Lorraine mentioned that she went through counseling, got treatment and recovery. For being molested and being a victim of domestic violence, have you ever received any counseling or therapy?
When I was molested as a child, no, I didn't get any. And then I got raped when I was 11. I actually just had a couple of weeks ago had to go to court because he is trying to get paroled, and I had to be at court a few weeks ago. But no, I didn't get any help for it. I ended up getting help. I was maybe 34, 35. I had to get help for myself because it was affecting my relationship with my marriage. And it was just, sex was nothing that was pleasing. It wasn't, I didn't never want to be touched. It just made me feel like a stone. Like I would feel like I just turned into a rock if somebody would touch me. So I knew that I had to do something about it. And then I had sat down, and then, what's strange about that too, when you're in an abusive situation and they know your situation, they would say, if you leave me, somebody else is going to take advantage of you. Somebody else is going to rape you. Somebody else is going to molest you.
Terrible.
They say these things to you. He has said these things to me. So, they take and use your abuse against you to continue to abuse you. So, yeah.
Okay. During your abuse, did any of you as individuals or your friends, your family notice a change in your behavior? For example, let's say prior to the relationship, you were outgoing, you were the joy of the party, this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
But that being abused, did you become isolated? Did you become depressed? Did others notice a change in your behavior? Let's start from Sister Lorraine, then Elizabeth.
Yes, you can start seeing the change because when I became a closet addict, I would go home, go to work, and just get high and stay home, and not really just trying to medicate my pain and my relationship as being abused by covering it up with drugs. I figured, and people was like, "Oh, what happened to her? Well, where is she? Oh, I don't feel that well. Oh, I'll be there." You start not showing up on time for certain things. But what scared me so much for many, many years, over 15 years, I was a functional addict, but I couldn't hide the abuse. That's what brought out the addiction, and then people start picking up because I could go to work, come home, go shopping, fix up my house. I wasn't raggedy, hanging on the corner, begging for change. I would go to work, functional, wait until the weekend, get high. That's how it all starts. You know what I mean? But then it starts with the phone calls, the not showing up at the barbecues, not being around your family. You start isolating yourself. You start moving back. So then your captive, your abuser is noticing that. So now they feel that, oh, I got her now. I got her now. Yeah, I got her now. So who you gonna go to? Who you gonna call? Who you gonna go to? you know, what, you know, you need me because I got this for you, you know, waving the drug in front of your hand, you know, and you're like, oh, wow. So my, you know, my thing wasn't just the abuse, it was the addiction on top of that.
Right.
So I had to really get out of, once I got strong, you got to get away from your addiction to get strong. And I seeked help and counseling and rehab and treatment. So my escape, Elizabeth, was a little different from yours. I relocated with my family after I got out of rehab. I didn't go back to people, places, and things. My family came and got me, and I got out of Delaware. See, that was my escape to get away from the addiction and also the abuse. But the thing was, well, I'll be back. I'm just going to go to rehab, you know, get myself together so I can keep my job. You know, your mind is so I can take care of you. You know, you have to start saying stuff like that, you know.
Wow.
I
Yeah.
can take care, you know, reversing it. So when I come back in 90 days, you know, but in the meantime, I was already packing. My clothes was already hidden. You know, my suitcase was already filled up that I wasn't coming back. But you can't address that to your abuser. You say, well, I'll be back, you know, and it's going to be great. You know, as soon as I get myself together to keep my job, money will start coming in. Okay. You know, you have to make them seem like this is for you. But in the meantime, my family and myself, we had an escape plan. After rehab, I was never going back. I was going to leave the city of New York and come straight to Delaware and never to return. I've been down here almost 20 something years, never went back and never picked up a drug again. I thank a lot for that.
Right. Now, did you ever go back in terms of just visiting family, or you just never went back at all, period?
Oh, well, something is I wanted to share. It's not it's not Scientology. It's called auditing.
Okay.
And auditing is a place with L. Ron Hubbard, but it's auditing through the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and they have a place called the AUG. And what they do, we had sessions, and it's called auditing. You sit down with your auditor, and you get audit. You start talking about your past and what happened. And one of the things that came out of my auditing was the simple fact that I needed to face my abuser. I needed to go back, either it was in writing or physically, you know, associating myself with the person or a phone call, and which I did. But I always was going back and forth to New York when I got stronger, not immediately.
Right.
As time went on, you don't want to rush back, you know, and then get caught up in the same thing. But I got so many compliments. Oh, your weight, you look good. Your skin looks great. My family was all excited. So I was strong enough by auditing. I think that's one of the best things that a person can do. L. Ron Hubbard has a thing called Scientology, but that's not what I'm talking about, the religion. I'm talking about the dynamics of it. It's called Dynetics. And I picked up the phone one day, and I didn't even know if it had the same number. And I called and I made an appointment to meet him at a open place, you know, like a restaurant or something. Nothing closed in, and you know, I had my family around. My family around.
Yes, I know.
So just in case. So that was one of the things that helped with me facing, and to Omar to be. It took me many years to even do it, to even face him myself. It took many years. And we met at a restaurant and we talked, and you know, I just wanted to know why. Why did you do those things?
Right.
You know, why? And like Elizabeth, Sister Elizabeth said, he was abused. I never knew that.
Okay.
I never knew that. You know, at first I never knew that, and he was also in foster care and different things like that. See, I didn't know that. So when he started using, all of that came out, the anger, the frustration, and everything. And we talked. I won't say his name or anything, but he's changed his life around, and he's married to a Jehovah's Witness now, and he listens to Farrakhan, and you know, we talk about those things, but I think Audit and Dynetics did things to me that helped me with my engrams, because as soon as a man came on to me and his voice was of a volume that was frightening, or so what you want, sister? Assalamu alaikum, or something. It would give me an engram. I'll be like, oh no, I can't deal with that.
Triggers. They're called triggers.
Triggers. Yes, that's it. A little. That's it. That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
With me, I tried to leave. My children were younger, and I actually ended up leaving. And he called the police on me and said I was a missing person. But I took a flight and I left, and I had to take a chance on leaving my children there with him to have a game plan for myself, because though he did that to me, he was a good father. And he do love his children. So I trusted that he would be fine with the kids. So I had left, and then he put a missing person out on me, had the police. I wasn't even in the state of Delaware, and the state that I was in, because I had opted for a job, and they found me through my social security number, and they came and spoke with me, and they said that, they said I was missing. I said, no, I'm not missing. I left. And so they couldn't, make me come back. But the doctor that I was talking to at that time was like, it would be best to call and check on your children and talk to him. And you start keeping a diary and start writing things down. And that's what I had did. And even though I did not want to go back, I did go back because I did not want to lose my children, because it was like I didn't have family. Okay, because I was in foster care. So mine was different. I didn't have no family. I just knew his family. And I really didn't have any friends because I'm truly an introvert. So like I don't go out unless I have to go to the store or a doctor's appointment, or like when I had my show, I would go to my show and go straight home. So it affected me a lot. And it's like, even now today, I still have triggers. I still have it where I'm scared of the dark. I check all my doors and windows. I actually booby trap my house. If somebody was to try to come in, because he stalked me for 5 years. And I came home one day and he had turned my lights off by the fuse box, and none of my lights would come on. Okay. I remember I woke up one night and I seen a shadowy figure standing at the foot of my bed, and it was him. He got into my house and he was watching me, and he used my children, our children, against me too. The children were like, just listen to him, just do what he say. And that's something that I did not want to do. And I didn't want my daughters to think that would be a good idea to stay in a relationship like that. I stayed as long as I can. And like Lorraine said, you get tired of being sick and tired. And I remember I was talking to his sister, because when he had put that gun to my head, I had went and I talked to his sister, because I'm always trying to get feedback before I do something. And she was just like, when you get sick and tired of being sick and tired, you're going to be done with it. And that's me. I had to get sick and tired. I had to say, what, my children are still young yet. How is it going to affect their school? How is it going to affect them? What kind of personality traits would it impact on my children? So I had to take the necessary steps. But he threatened me, and then I got into a relationship just so he would not be, because he was like, you're not with nobody else because you miss me. So I got into a relationship because to show him that no, I'm not missing you, to anything to say I don't want to be with you. And then after a while, it was like we went to court because he tried to kill me, and he's not even allowed in the state of Delaware now.
Wow.
Yeah, he's not allowed to vote here. Wow. If he gets caught in the state of Delaware, if something happens, and I'm gonna tell you, the blessing in everything that had happened, and it's not a blessing in getting raped or molested, but when I got raped at 11, Alex Smalls was my lawyer. He's now a Supreme Court judge here. And he is a fantastic godfather. That's what I call him. So I would go to him and talk to him, and he would give me the right avenue to go. And I'm going to tell you, when I went to court with him, and the district attorney's office said they had all of these things, and he pleaded guilty to everything. He had to plead guilty to everything.
Wow.
And then he had to leave, and I'm not spiteful or anything like that. Like, I didn't want him to, because he used to say, if I go to jail every day, I will be thinking about you, and when I get out, I'm coming for you, so he was threatening me through then too. Mm-hmm. And then so when he got out of jail, my children, he still went back to his children, and his children was hiding him in my house. Still helping their father. So it was a lot. It was a lot that I went through to be away from him. It's a lot of things that I did that I normally would not do to be away from him. To be stalked, to be harassed, is a very scary thing. I still certain movies I can't watch. It's certain things that I cannot do. I don't like to be outside at nighttime. There's so many triggers that it doesn't make any sense. And the crazy part was, like I said, a couple of weeks ago, I had to go to court. Well, it is public. It's in public record that the man that raped me, Benjamin Crump, I'll never forget his name. And for him to be now having to ask me for parole so he can get out, how dare you? And that's how I looked at it. I got stronger myself when I started going to therapy, and the therapist said, like your therapist told you, write things down and go and ask questions of why you did. Like, I had to face my mom. Mm-hmm. Okay, first, because I was abandoned by her. I had to face different people in my family, and then I had to face I didn't face Benjamin Crump, he was already in jail, but I had to face my husband, and he didn't care. It's like, I'm putting my heart on my sleeve, telling you everything and how I feel, but the abusers still continue to use your abuse and your mentality of what you're going through against you.
Against you, yeah.
Right. You mentioned a great deal about children. Have any one of you sat down and had conversations with your children, either as children, teenagers, or adults? For example, for those of you who may have daughters, this is the warning signs of an abused man. Stay away from this particular type of man. If someone touches you, tell me right away, because the person shouldn't be touching you there. In terms of your sons, was there ever fear that your sons may take out the father and be abusive towards women? Have you sat down and talked to your son, say, son, never put your hands on a woman? Whoever wants to go first can.
I don't have any children, so.
Okay, I'll take it. When we got 4 children together, 2 girls, 2 boys. When I had my daughters, he never bathed my daughters. He never, and it's not that he would do something to my daughters, but it's the triggers in myself from being molested and from being raped, my own triggers. Their father never gave them baths. I talked to my sons about it. And, both of my sons, thank God that I raised them the way I did, and they followed me and my belief and my way of life. They followed that aspect. But when it comes to my sons, they like to be with women that they can control easy. I noticed that with both my sons. They like to be with women that they're I call them bobbleheads. They just say yes to everything. And I don't think that, women should do that. I don't care how good he looked. I don't care what job he got. You have to sustain your own health and your own state of mind when it comes to yourself. It's things that you should not accept in life. For me, I feel like, I fell through the cracks when it came to society, when it came to the state, because I would tell somebody about my abuse, and then they would call Child Protective Service, and Child Protective Service will send a letter out saying that, oh, well, it was stated that your daughter said, Elizabeth said this, so we want to come out and make sure everything is okay. That I do not agree with. The state should not do that, because you should never put the rabbit in front of the wolf and ask the rabbit, is it okay?
Okay.
Definitely. Yes, both of you ladies had some powerful stories. Sister Lorraine, I was listening to you when you were saying that you were addicted to drugs, and I see that you're a member of the Nation of Islam. And one of the first things that came to my mind was Malcolm X. If you know the history of Malcolm X, he was a drug dealer. He was I'm a gangster. Maybe he did this, that, and the other, and he changed his life around after he heard the teachings of his teacher, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. So, you know, and the spirituality, religious institutions also play a role in terms of treatment and recovery. Because a lot of people go there for counseling, people go there for DNA groups. So, I'm going to ask both of you ladies: does your place of worship help shape you to be a stronger woman that you are today?
Most definitely. Most definitely. I could say most definitely. Well, the nation had fell. I was in prior 1970, and they say that was prior 75.
Mm-hmm.
And so when the nation fell, I went back out in the street, and and it wasn't a thing that people say, oh, you use drugs because something was going on. No, I was with a high scale of people that were in show business. And one of the things you have to be careful with in show business and being people with flamboyant, I thought nothing could happen with me. Oh, I'm hanging out, my boss is there, everybody. And the thing is that when you are with a crowd of people and you think it's innocent and we're passing around Coke and Coke is the thing, what's in the 70s, it's the 80s now, in the 90s, everybody sniffing Coke and everything, not knowing that it was going to lead up to a deadly drug called crack cocaine, which the government brought into this country. So as time went back on, and thank Allah for the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan rebuilding the nation, I just kept hearing it. My sister said, well, they build the mosques, the temples of mosques are coming back. Minister Farrakhan brought back the nation. And I said, really? And they said, yeah, you come down to Delaware, get yourself together. So she used to send me, at that time, it was tapes. So at night, I would put the cassette tape on and I would listen. And then I heard, it just coming back to me. So I advise anybody that's an addiction or drugs or church or mosque or whatever, you can get your spirituality and make you strong within. I was going to some churches. I went to Buddha on 94th Street in Manhattan, Namye Renge. I was searching in different areas. I just didn't go straight right back in, but I was going to some churches. They would give out, pamphlets and recovery. And I was chanting Namye Renge. I went into the African, the African eccentric, the Moors. I was like all over the place. But one of the things that I came back to my natural self is becoming back to the Nation of Islam and empowering myself and empowering other women, not just on addiction, but then also helping themselves. And anybody that can get audited, they have audit and Dynetics. I think that was one of the best things, because even though I stopped using drugs, I still have what you call engrams. And that, like you call it triggers, Elizabeth.
Yes.
It's also, I would suggest that to anybody. You can get the book. It's called Dynetics with L. Ron Hubbard. And you can get the video. It's free. If anybody needs any assistance, you can inbox me or whatever, and I can send you that information. But Omar, I just want to thank you for allowing me to come on the show to share this, because
Definitely.
something came up, and it's in my immediate family: domestic violence and drinking.
Okay.
And and with this quarantine and this pandemic, if you look at the statistics in African American homes, it has escalated.
Yeah.
So
Because a lot of people are home and they're not working, so
right, and they're home and they're drinking and they're trying to cope with certain things, and then that's when the abuse starts.
Right.
Right. Wow. For me, I went through different schools of thought, but the thing is, when you go through schools of thought, you have to have their thought. And I'm very strong-minded. I'm very opinionated. I was in the mosque at one time when 9/11 when we had 9/11. That's when we was told to come out of our barns because they were deporting a lot of people, and I had a problem with that because my dad is from the Dominican Republic, and they were looking at me like, am I an American? But I went through the schools of thought, but I looked at schools of thought looked at it like this: I have my own opinion, and if I have an opinion about something, you're not right because this is the right way to do it. And I don't deal with control very well, because I believe that I'm a very strong-minded Black woman, and that I have resources of my own. I think, therefore I am, and I have to make myself stronger. I can't go to somebody to make me stronger when you're just feeding me something out of a book, or you're just feeding me something that you believe in. Different schools of thought. I don't want to say which ones they are, but I've been through a school of thought where, they were so opinionated that it didn't make any sense. And it was like, oh, well, it's AIDS out here because of gay people. And I disagreed with that. I am all about science when it comes to disease and things like that. And I went through a school of thought where the men were the dominant ones and you're supposed to just listen and submit. And I would not do that either, because, I'm put on this earth to share and learn from one another, as we all were put on this earth to learn from one another. And so I had to take it upon myself to make the decision to say, you know what, I need to get me some help. And I didn't go through schools of thought. I went to a doctor. I went to a therapist to get some help. And yeah, they wanted to put me on medication and say, oh, she's bipolar and all of these kind of things, because I had so many different types of fear. Fear is not bipolarism, okay? Fear has nothing to do with that. So the best thing that my therapist told me to do was to write things down. And when I started writing things down, I ended up meeting my husband, and I shared with him what I was doing. And he said, you know what, you should write about it to help somebody else. And that's when I first wrote my first book, which is Testament of a Child, the Heightened Awareness of Child Abuse. Right. And from there, that's how I met you, Omar. Oh, and yeah. Omar had me on his show, and we talked about the book and things like that. And I had so much.
No, wait a minute. I think we first met when you was in my play. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, I was on your show for my first book, Testament of a Child. Came out.
Okay, all right. Well,
yeah, and then then I was introduced to your plays, and you're incredible, Omar. I just got to tell you, you're so incredible. And so I went on from writing my book, Testament of a Child, to being a organization, which I started the organization and founded the organization, which is Crimes Against Women and Children, and started helping in that way. Any way to be a voice, to be an advocate, to help someone else, to be a voice, because I didn't have anybody to be a voice for me. So, and I knew there were others out there like me that had been through foster care and didn't have anybody that cared about them, and went through the same avenues that I have been through.
Right. And you provide community service for the organization that you founded. And Sister Lorraine, you've been out there. I want you to talk about the community service that you do, because I seen on Facebook last week where you were giving free was it fish dinners and chicken dinners at the
that was through the mosque. That was the outreach.
Okay, but, yeah. So talk about the work you do in the community, because you
okay. My organization, the founder, president, CEO, is Our Time, and as the Ministry of Love. And in order for me to heal myself, I took the opportunity, and I had Elizabeth working with me. I had several events and guest speakers come in and speak to those reform from the pipeline to the prison, addiction. I had people, gangs, let's stop the violence. With the peacekeepers, I joined the 10,000 Fearless, and I went to different shelters where women were in shelters. I was in a shelter myself, and spoke to women on how to come out of it and get yourself together and come. And Elizabeth had come with several times and spoke. We worked together before. So my thing is right now with the pandemic is to I drop off food boxes. I get if anybody out there is a Lutheran community, is Monday and Wednesdays. You can get food boxes, and elders. I have my little pick. They call me my mom. This is and here they're elders, and they saying, and it makes me feel good. It makes me feel good about myself and a way of giving it back. In the midst of this pandemic, I say this: you can do the social distancing, but distancing yourself from another human beings and the ones you live. Because when I ring those bells and I ring the bell and I drop off their food box, I get a sense of an air hug, but then I give a sense of connection, letting them know that somebody's there for you. And that's human beings. We're not animals. Even an animal need a pat, a hug, a pat on the head or something to know. So God put it into me. You know, I still reach out. I still go to rehabs, different places if they ask me to come. The 1212 Corporation or 28th in Washington. I, you know, help with food. I go to the masjid. You know, I help with the Nation of Islam, MGT, Muslim Girls in Training, and feeding out there. Wherever anyone needs me to come, I'm there. My number, our time, my wing sing 333 at Verizon.net for email. Any outreach that anybody, a motivational speaker, I'm there.
That is awesome. But let me ask you too, I want to stay with Sister Lorraine, then Elizabeth. Once again, both of you ladies are victims of domestic violence, survivors of domestic violence. After you had left the abusive relationship, was it difficult for you to establish other relationships, in particular with men? Because, I mean, was there fear that, you know, you may have been abused once again by another man? How difficult was you to continue to have effective relationships? This is Lorraine, you first.
Oh, okay. Like I said before, do Dynetics, auditing, and seeing what my engrams were and working on myself. You know, it took many a years of reading the books and tapes, and feeling comfortable with myself. So if I know I've gotten to the point where I know that I can actually get into a relationship because it's you know you don't have a book like a driving school book that tell you, well, when you get to the light it's red, and when you get to the stop, and when you see green you go. So all these instincts that the person that's been abused or domestic violence or whatever, we can see them. I mean, you can feel it. You can feel it in yourself. Well, this is not something that I would go into. So I don't dive into a relationship or a courtship anymore. And one thing, the person that I would consider that the person that they get auditing with me and they get Dynetics, they get help as well. Because I think living in this country, all of us is got a little something going on that might need help. Seriously. Right. So that's one of the things that I would put out there would be Dynetics, and sit down before I jump into another relationship and then just go spiraling down because I got engrams. Elizabeth, you call it triggers, the same thing, engrams. So if a person mentally heal themselves, and both of them could be on the same page and find out, because like Elizabeth said, I found out that he was molested. So these are the questions, even before going into a courtship or a relationship, one should sit down to find out what was the other person going through. So I don't have no fears anymore. Right. I'm looking forward to it.
Okay.
Well, for me, I had gotten into a relationship with a gentleman, and he was really nice to me, but he had a lot of secrets. I didn't know like what he was doing, but he would always brag and say, oh, you know, she's a writer and she's this and this. But I ended up finding that he had a drinking problem. And I was with him for 7 years before I got married again. But I was with him for 7 years. And I ended up leaving him because he ended up being physically abusive, where he literally would, you know, he had a gambling problem. He loses money. He would come and ask me for my bank card. He would take any money that I had. He would take any pills that I had that he could sell, or anything that he could get his hands on. And I remember one evening he said that we were going to leave. He wanted to take me to Tennessee. And as soon as we got out, out of the state of Delaware, we got a hotel. It was supposed to be had resting, but he had stopped to go gamble. And when he came back, he had lost the money that he had with him. And he came back to the hotel and he wanted to fight me over the money that I had. And he snatched all my clothes off. Mm. And he tied me up with a sheet and he beat me in the face with a water bottle. A brand new water bottle, unopened. He beat me in the face with it. And I knew, I said, if I survive this, Lord, I'm done with relationships and things like that. This man, I had to really, really pray on any relationship that I came into. So when I got into my now marriage, you know, he don't drink, he don't smoke, he, you know, he's God-fearing. he used to be a pastor himself. And we both went from Islam to Nuwapian together. And he's the one that said, get some help, get some therapy. And that got me to go into therapy. But the good thing about this relationship is we have a friendship relationship, even though we're married. And it's not a sexual relationship, because I have my own triggers, and I don't want the intimacy, because I'm mentally not ready for it, because it's just so much going on. Like, Miss Lorraine said that, with this pandemic, things are happening. And I actually had a granddaughter that was molested over the summer of last year. So it's traumatizing over and over again, and then for it to hit one of my grandchildren, it's very traumatizing. So yeah, I'm married, I'm in a good relationship, I'm in a safe place, a place where I trust him. I have no fears. I still don't like to be by myself. I still don't like that. Right. I'm still scared to be alone, even though that the ex-husband is in another state and the other guy is in another state doing time. But the thing is, I just don't want, I don't know, the triggers for me is very severe for me. They're very severe because you have to realize I came from 4-year-old molestation, then right. being raped, then being, it was just a continuous cycle. And I learned about the cycles through my therapist, that, you have to start to break cycles, and you have to break that link, or it will just continue over and over again. So I just started doing things different in my life, and started surrounding myself with people that I can trust. And I don't have very many friends. I have associates that I do know, and I have people that I trust, like Omar and Sister Lorraine. I have you guys that I trust. If you guys was to say, we're having something over here, would you come out? I would say yes. But if anybody else would ask me, it's hard to get Elizabeth to come out and do anything. I don't care where my status is or who I am in my community. It's hard for me to just come out and interact, because I start to feel, are you interacting with me because of who I am? Or are you interacting with me because you're trying to be a little too friendly? So like I said, I'm an introvert, so that's where I am more.
Right. But sometimes people from the outside, they can perceive, if you see a female that's kind of like you say, introvert, maybe she's not trustworthy towards others based on what happened in her past, especially if she was raped or physically abused. And if someone looking from the outside don't know that, they've been misperceived as being, she might be shallow, she may be stuck up.
Yeah, I got that.
Okay. So I just wanted to ask you, ladies, do you ever fear others were coming down on you, but they don't know the history of what you went through?
Yeah, I actually went through. There was a sister that I was friends with, and I did not know she had. And it's going to change the subject, but I didn't know that she had racial tension amongst us. She was a sister, I'm a sister. Mm-hmm. And she looked at me one day and said, you're an author because of what you look like. You got a talk show because of what you look like. You're doing radio because of what you look like. You didn't have to work for it. And you don't know what I've been through, for me to even still be here. Because honestly, when you go through, they say survivor, but we're survivors still surviving.
Right.
And you have to understand that being a survivor still surviving, we are not so trusting. We're very guarded people. And you have people that come through, and they get even a worse predicament. They turn to alcoholism, they turn to prostitution. They can't never come out of it. They can't never come. They think that it's the norm to be abused mentally, physically, sexually. They find it, and it's accepting to them to be abused because they are too afraid to run, too afraid to leave. But you know what? I'm here to tell you, I was I was one of those people that said, you know what, I need to stay. I was giving myself so many excuses why I shouldn't leave. I shouldn't leave because my kids are too young. I'm not going to be able to take care of disabled children by myself. But you know what? I did it. And I stood on faith to do it. And you have to do that. You have to believe in yourself. You can't let somebody take control of the love that you have for yourself to be able to do for yourself. And even going through all this, like me and Sister Lorraine, we still have it in us to be advocates for other women, and to be a voice and vocal for other women. And we still give back to our community, because it's not the community that did it, it's a person that did it. So we're a voice to help somebody else that is going through or afraid to even say anything. Because I'm gonna tell you, when I said something about me being molested, and as I gotten older, going to visit with my mom and stuff like that, my mom didn't believe me. She ended up staying with this man and had a child with this man. And the only reason why he left is because she had a boy. And, you know, that was a blessing and a curse in itself, you know, because he's scared of boys. So that's why he left my mom. So it's just a lot of things that you go through, being a survivor, still surviving every day. Because you can walk into a situation and it's not even, it don't even have to be a bad situation. Somebody like Sister Lorraine said, somebody could say something or try to, like a man, he always like to try to dominate and tower over a woman, or say things to a woman and then be like, oh, I'm just joking. Don't joke with me. I'm the wrong person to joke with. Don't do that. Don't do that.
You said something that was crucial, that your mom didn't believe you were abused.
Yeah.
You know, I would imagine that that's even worse than abuse itself, because you had someone who and this is your mother. This is your number one. This is the lady who brought you into this world. And there are other cases where family members were told that they were someone was abusing his daughter, aunt, niece, and nephew, granddaughter, and they didn't believe him. Man, that adds more trauma to it, I believe.
Yes, it's very hard because, you know, I remember as a little girl, and, you know, like when your parents are being intimate, you can hear them. He would wait till my mom goes to sleep, and then he would come into me and my sister's room. I would pretend that I'm asleep and pray that he does not touch me or take me. I was to the point where I was so scared, because he was not only messing with my mom, he was messing with my aunt too. And he has children with my cousin. But the thing is, I was so afraid of him. Even if I stayed to my auntie house, he would come over there. Wow. And he would come and still snatch me out of my bed. I would pray and it may sound bad, but sometimes when he come in the room, I pray he take somebody else. Don't touch me. You know, that's how I was so scared, and it caused me to have insomnia, which I still live with today.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, because I'm scared to sleep.
Right. So Sister Lorraine, Elizabeth, she touched on it earlier in terms of why she stayed. Why did you stay in the abusive relationship? You know, and I mean, eventually you end up leaving, but I guess you could have left maybe way before you left after the abuse. But what made you stay?
Well, first of all, you consider yourself, in my mind, that I loved him. In my mind, the person that I met wasn't the person that he became. He was very handsome, hard worker, what you would say a hustler, made money and took care of me. We went to, you know, in the beginning, I just wanted him back, the old person that he was. We loved music together. We went out. We went to a lot of shows. You know, we traveled all over the country. You know, I wanted that back. I was hoping, you know, that one day that I could change him and he could come back to being that person that he was. That was my thing, was hope that he would change, you know. Hopefully he would change. Well, he changed, but he didn't change with me. I had to remove myself and come to conclusion that it's never going to happen. But you always have that little, I just think he might change, you know. Even prayed, you know, I even prayed to God that he would change and he would change his life, because he wasn't a bad person. I'm not saying that. I think the drugs was more of took a hold of him, and the things that he went through when he was young, and the out of control of the drugs and the drinking, you know what I mean? So I think if all those things, I was prayed that, that's why I stayed, Omar. I stayed because I figured one day, you know, hopefully he'll change, or if I can help him change, you know.
You know what? Let me say this to you, Omar. What made me leave, because what made me leave because I was gonna do something to him, and I didn't want to be him. I didn't want to be that monster. And when he would lay down and go to sleep, like I said, I would not sleep. And when I found myself putting a pillow over his head and watching him gasping for air, and then I would remove the pillow because I knew he's going to wake up because he's trying to breathe. And I would pretend I was asleep. And when I found that I was doing things like that, I did not want to be that person, because, you know, at that point, I was in a fight or flight state of mind. Anybody that's been in a situation of being abused, raped, or kidnapped, which I was at one time. But the thing is, every woman or man that goes through that in any abusive situation, when you're in fight or flight, you can do anything, because right now you're doing this to save your own life. And I decided to leave because I was putting a pillow over his face every night, because I did not want him to wake up.
Yeah, they got you for murder, you know.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing. That's what saved me. That's what saved me, because see, I know my accountability. I know what I'm responsible for. And when somebody pushes you to that point, to me, it was saving my own life. To be choked out and raped every night, and you're married to this man and you can't do anything about it. To me, I wasn't murdering him. I was getting rid of him so he don't hurt me or my family. So when I found that those things was happening that I was doing, I had to get out of the situation. And that's what made me say, I gotta go. I don't do that now, but I do sleepwalk now. I am on sleep medication, tranquilizers, but I really don't like to take the sleep tranquilizers because, you know, they cause memory loss. And I've driven my car in my sleep. I've did things in my house, almost set my house on fire in my sleep because of the tranquilizers that I am on to put me to sleep because of my insomnia.
Wow.
But I have a normal life now, but a lot of people don't know, like that movie that came out, The Burning Bed, and everything that man put his wife through, and she set him on fire in his bed while he slept. These are the things that go through your mind. It's not that we're sitting back here just boo-hooing and crying. We're sitting here thinking like, how can I protect myself? What can I do? And you hear people say all the time, oh, if it was me, I'd knock him upside the head. You don't know what you would do unless you was in the situation.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got a lot of Monday night quarterbacks.
Yeah.
We can talk about that. Yeah, you're exactly right. Yeah. Okay, ladies. So as we conclude the program for this evening, I want to ask you, ladies, there may be some ladies or men who watch right now who are being abused or in an abusive relationship. What words of encouragement do you have for this particular person? And also, if someone wanted to reach out to you, ladies, for help or just talk to get some support, how can they reach you? Let's start off with Sister Lorraine.
Well, the first thing I would say, if you're in Delaware or New York is 311, Delaware is 211. There are outreach that way more than it was back. I can say when I was out there, there are helplines that you can call and 1-800 numbers and 211. And there are outreaches that could come and help you. And social service is the big thing for domestic violence. They are reaching out more than they did before. But like I said, mine is the Ministry of Love. I'm on Facebook, Lorraine Muhammed, Lorraine 1955 on Instagram. You could contact me at 302-764-5776. That's my other number. And cell phone 302-438-7775. But the most important thing that I can say from experience, once you step out to reach out to someone for help, make sure you reach out to the right person. I had reached out to people and they took it for a gossip. Oh, girl, you know that man, he's up there doing this and that. And they did that, you know, because everybody have an ear, but they don't have the right ear. So, you know, if you have a place of worship, I think that's where the person, you should start talking to someone in the place of worship where they could guide you and lead you, you know, to other avenues where you can get help. But the first thing is to look into yourself and pray to God and ask God, that's your beginning, you know, to get you out this situation and reach out for help. That's the only way. That's what I can say, to reach out for help. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Omar.
You're welcome. Okay, Elizabeth?
I do take emails at elizabethperkins.mp@gmail.com. I have been using that email, talking with men and women that have been through domestic violence or a rape or molestation. My main question is, when am I going to write a book about men that's been molested or raped? So, you know, but that's where you can catch me at. If you can, you got to email me, and I will definitely email you back. Again, at elizabethperkins.mp@gmail.com.
Oh, all right, ladies. Omar, did I get my email?
Oh, okay. You can give it in case you didn't.
Okay. It's WINGSING333@verizon.net. It's wingsing333@verizon.net. I'm sorry.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in and watching this special edition of Showtime TV. Please like, subscribe, and share. Ladies, once again, thank you for being a guest.
All right, Elizabeth, give me a call.
I will.
Thank you, Omar, for inviting me.
No problem.
Thank
All right,
you.
stay safe, ladies. Peace.
Okay, peace.
Good night.